As First Lady, I believe we need to fight against the cyberbullying. All of the people on the Twitter who are saying the bad things, we need to stop them. We need to make sure that they cannot carry on what they're doing.
Trevor Noah brought a whole new level of entertainment to live television by dropping some eye-opening revelations about Donald and Melania Trump's relationship. With his signature sharp wit and fearless delivery, he didn't shy away from the details, making sure the audience was hanging on to every word. The information he shared wasn't just casual gossip, it was genuinely surprising. The kind of details that spark conversation, fuel speculation, and leave people wondering what's really going on behind closed doors. Noah's ability to mix comedy with unexpected revelations made the moment even more captivating, turning what could have been just another segment into a viral-worthy spectacle. From his playful yet pointed commentary to the shocked reactions from the audience, it was clear that this wasn't just any ordinary late-night joke. It was a moment that got people talking. Whether you love or hate the Trumps, there's no denying that Noah's bold approach to discussing their relationship brought a fresh dose of humor and controversy to the conversation.
Donald Trump was sitting in the living room, turned on the lights. Hi, Melania. I saw what you said about me on the news. It was very not nice.
From awkwardly failed attempts at physical displays of affection to cold, career-ending stares, Trevor Noah held nothing back in his takedown of Donald and Melania Trump's relationship. His commentary was brutally sharp, hilariously exaggerated, and impossible to ignore. The crowd erupted with laughter, fully engaged in every punchline and every perfectly delivered observation. Meanwhile, the internet went into full meltdown mode, with clips spreading like wildfire, and social media users debating whether Trevor had just said what everyone had secretly been thinking all along. And then there was Trump, likely fuming, pacing back and forth at Mar-a-Lago, clutching a hidden phone, angrily typing out a furious all-caps rant. Did Trevor Noah just say what no one else dared to? Did he put into words the silent thought that had been lingering in the minds of millions? It sure looked like it.
The big mystery is, what did the FBI find? Well, according to Donald Trump's third favorite son, the only thing the FBI took was his heart.
What? Trevor Noah didn't just tell a joke, he tore down the illusion with the precision of a seasoned late-night assassin. With his signature effortless charm and razor-sharp wit, he exposed the dynamics of Donald and Melania Trump's marriage in a way that felt almost too natural, too smooth, like he had been secretly preparing for this exact moment for years. Seated with his usual cool confidence, he unraveled the facade piece by piece, delivering every punchline with surgical accuracy. It wasn't just comedy, it was a takedown disguised as entertainment, leaving the audience in stitches and the internet buzzing. It was the kind of moment that felt undeniably perfect, as if Noah had been waiting for just the right time to drop this particular bit. Armed with observations so sharp they could slice through the carefully curated image of the Trump's marriage.
Also, I would pay anything to know what he wrote inside that card that he definitely didn't actually get. Like, roses are red, love is a mystery, I had a historic electoral college victory. Why did Trump say he called into Fox and Friends? Because it was Melania's birthday. Like, what does that mean? He's like, honey, I've got a great celebration planned for us today. I'm gonna talk to some TV people while sitting on the toilet. Like, oh, thank you, Donald. My life is a beautiful dream.
Suddenly, the entire studio was buzzing with energy. Laughter echoed through the room, with some audience members doubling over, clutching their stomachs, while others wiped away tears of amusement. The reaction was instant, electric, and contagious. Meanwhile, somewhere far away, it wasn't hard to imagine a certain someone furiously typing out an all-caps tweet, seething at yet another unflattering joke that hit a little too close to home. The atmosphere was nothing short of electric, a moment that was both hilarious and strangely revealing. It cut through the noise of traditional news reports, delivering a truth so obvious that it didn't even need to be explained. Regardless of where people stood politically, there was an unspoken understanding in the air. Everyone knew exactly what was happening, and that made it even funnier.
Did you ever have Trump on the show?
No, we never did.
He did say some bad things about you on.
I don't know. I don't keep up with it.
Yeah, I do. I keep up with it. Yeah,
yeah, but you have like a feud with him. You have like a real. So here's what I've noticed. Like, Trump's annoyance at people is directly proportional to how big they were when he like focused on the media. Does that make sense?
I see, yeah.
Then came the digital wildfire. The clip spread like lightning across social media, instantly going viral as users shared, commented, and reacted in droves. Twitter transformed into a battleground, overflowing with jokes, fiery debates, and memes that only made the moment even bigger. On TikTok, users quickly remixed the video, pairing it with trending sounds, adding dramatic effects, and turning it into a must-see moment that dominated For You pages. Meanwhile, major news outlets jumped in, playing the clip on repeat, analyzing every detail, and keeping the conversation alive. Headlines flooded the internet, each one amplifying the situation, ensuring that it wasn't just a fleeting joke. It was a full-blown cultural moment. Some called it the greatest insult ever delivered, while others saw it as a hilariously sharp truth bomb disguised as comedy. But no matter how people interpreted it, one thing was undeniable. Trevor had set something in motion, and there was no stopping it now.
I feel like after a couple of hours, the doctor told her she could go home, and Melania was like, no, I should stay. I should stay until you check everything out. I stay longer. I was like, okay, well, Miss First Lady, since we're keeping you longer, your husband is on his way to visit. Okay, pull the plug. We've tried everything. Pull the plug. It's like, you're not on life support. I don't care. Just try it.
Trevor Noah didn't just poke fun at Trump and Melania's relationship. He ripped it apart with expert precision. Anyone expecting him to hold back or tread lightly was in for a surprise. Instead, he went all in, tearing into their most awkward, uncomfortable moments with the kind of brutal honesty that made every punchline land harder. He didn't just joke about their public interactions. He exposed them, highlighting the cringeworthy exchanges, stiff body language, and long-standing rumors in a way that felt just a little too real. Every line had just enough truth to make it sting, like a bad prenuptial agreement or a high-profile divorce that costs a fortune. It wasn't just comedy, it was a full-scale roast, and by the time he was done, there was no denying that Trevor had taken their already awkward dynamic and made it look even worse.
Trump's hands really couldn't catch a break because this time, the First Lady gave him the old down low, too slow, which made me wonder, like, when you watch that, do you think maybe Melania is jealous? Maybe that's what this was about? Oh, now you want to hold hands, Donald? You sure you wouldn't rather be holding that orb?
History everyone remembers when Melania publicly rejected Trump's hand on camera for the world to see. It wasn't subtle, it wasn't a misunderstanding, it was a full-on deliberate dismissal, and Trevor Noah brought it back in the most hilarious way possible. With perfect comedic timing, Trevor mimicked the wrist flick that sent Trump's hand packing, capturing the "don't touch me" energy so precisely that the audience burst into laughter. It was a next-level public rejection, the kind that most people would need years of therapy to recover from. But Trevor didn't stop there. He zoomed in on another legendary piece of the Melania Trump awkwardness collection, her icy, emotionless stares. The ones that seem to scream, "I'd rather be anywhere but here." He highlighted how over the years, her facial expressions have done all the talking, shifting from concern to horrified in record time whenever Trump opened his mouth. Suddenly, her reactions became the punchline. Trevor painted a hilarious picture of Melania as a woman trapped in a bizarre, never-ending political circus, forced to smile, nod, and pretend to be interested, while her husband went on wild rants about conspiracy theories, crowd sizes, and whatever else popped into his head. By the time he was done, it was impossible not to see it. Melania as the unwilling star of a reality show she never signed up for.
If I had $400 million in loans coming due, I'd also be trying to cancel the election. It also explains why Melania isn't leaving Trump. I mean, if she divorces him, she gets half of the $400 million in debt. I also now get why Trump was rooting for Bernie Sanders so hard. He wanted him to win so that the government would bail him out. I mean, it all makes sense now, people. It even explains why Trump has been destroying the post office. Good luck collecting your money when you can't mail him a bill.
Then came the knockout punch, the joke that truly sealed the deal. Trevor didn't just mock their relationship, he brutally reframed it as nothing more than a bad business deal Trump couldn't escape. He compared their marriage to a disastrous real estate investment, one where Melania noticed all the red flags too late, got in too deep, and now has no choice but to quietly wait for the inevitable divorce. It was cold, cutting, and sounded painfully accurate. The audience erupted in laughter because the comparison was spot on. It was exactly how people had imagined their relationship for years, but no one had put it into words quite like Trevor did. But what made the joke truly devastating wasn't just the words, it was how Trevor delivered them. His smirk, his perfectly timed eyebrow raise, his effortless pauses, they all elevated the punchline, making it hit even harder. His delivery was so sharp that it didn't just make fun of their marriage, it made their entire dynamic look ridiculous. He exposed the cracks in their carefully curated public image, making it impossible to ignore the awkward, transactional nature hidden beneath the luxury. The audience roared with laughter, tears in their eyes, knowing Trump was somewhere watching, furious, pacing, probably typing out an angry all-caps post. Meanwhile, in a lavish penthouse, Trump was seething, and in a designer-filled living room, Melania was sipping tea, saying nothing, but silently agreeing. Online, the internet exploded. Memes, jokes, reaction videos. The moment had officially gone viral.
I had $400 million in loans coming due. I'd also be trying to cancel the election. It also explains why Melania isn't leaving Trump. I mean, if she divorces him, she gets half of the $400 million in debt. I also now get why Trump was rooting for Bernie Sanders so hard. He wanted him to win so that the government would bail him out. I mean, it all makes sense now, people. It even explains why Trump has been destroying the post office. Good luck collecting your money when you can't mail him a bill.
To be clear, Donald and Melania Trump's marriage has long been a source of public speculation, mostly because of how visibly awkward it appears. Trevor Noah didn't just joke about it. He shined a spotlight on their unconvincing dynamic, making it impossible to ignore. Their interactions often seem forced rather than affectionate, giving off the vibe of two people stuck in an arrangement rather than a loving partnership. Their body language is stiff, their eye contact is minimal, and when they do hold hands, it looks more like a business handshake than a romantic gesture. In fact, some have joked that even an inanimate object might display more warmth than they do. People online still haven't forgotten one of their most famous awkward moments, when Melania flat out refused to hold Trump's hand on camera, swatting it away as if she were fending off a mosquito. Then there was the Republican National Convention speech, where Melania's expression was stiff, her delivery robotic, and her entire demeanor screamed "help me," while Trump stood next to her, grinning like a clueless businessman closing a questionable deal. These moments have fueled endless speculation. Is their relationship even real, or is Melania simply fulfilling an obligation bound by a strict agreement rather than genuine commitment? To many observers, their marriage looks less like a traditional love story and more like a legally binding contract, one where appearances must be maintained, but warmth and affection are optional.
Long time that President Trump once had an affair with Playboy playmate Karen McDougal. But yesterday, we learned more about the conspiracy to keep this affair quiet, thanks to Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney and Sopranos background actor. You didn't even notice him in the picture, do you? Because, you see, it turns out, like so many Sopranos characters, Cohen was wearing a wire.
This is a secret recording provided by Michael Cohen's lawyer. Cohen and then candidate Donald Trump discussing paying for former playmate Karen McDougal's story of an alleged...
Melania's bare minimum approach to her marriage with Trump feels less like a love story and more like expert deal making. She shows up when required, nods at the right moments, and plays her role, but never with any real enthusiasm. Her forced smiles practically scream, "Let's just get this over with," as if she were a contestant on a reality show counting down the days until she gets voted off. Whether she's walking several steps behind Trump or delivering a lifeless, robotic birthday message, the lack of warmth in their relationship is impossible to ignore. Trevor Noah didn't just joke about it, he put it under a microscope, making sure everyone saw what was already obvious. So what is this really? A failed romance or a business arrangement carefully acted out for the cameras? Whatever the case, it's comedy gold, and Trevor Noah is making the most of it. Trump's reaction was predictable, loud, and over the top. The moment Trevor mocked his marriage on live TV, Trump exploded, launching into his usual routine: denial, outrage, and desperate attempts to shift the narrative. But the reality was already obvious to everyone else. Trump wasn't just mad about the jokes. He was furious that Trevor had exposed what people had long suspected. He wanted to rewrite the story, to convince the world that his marriage was picture perfect. The problem, no one was buying it, because while Trump was furiously trying to defend his perfect relationship, the rest of the world was laughing at how obviously fake it all looked.
This is Trump. Melania Trump, the international cover girl, has now joined us. We got to discuss the media. How did you two meet?
We met in New York, 1998. It was a fashion week, September 1998.
The famous fashion week.
The famous fashion week in
Were
New
you
York.
introduced?
Well, no, we were both at the same party, and that's how we met. He came
Like
to
right
me.
away?
I went crazy. I said, I was actually supposed to meet somebody else, and there was this great supermodel sitting next to Melania, and I was supposed to meet this supermodel, and they were saying, look, there's so-and-so. I said, forget about her. Who's the one on the left? And it was Melania.
You like him right away?
It was a great chemistry and energy. We had, great time. We started to talk, and it was something was there right away.
Trump's reaction was instant, hitting Truth Social like a wrecking ball. It was loud, frantic, and dripping with embarrassment, the kind of response that only comes from someone who felt truly exposed. His words followed his usual style, over-the-top confidence masking deep insecurity, a desperate need for validation disguised as bravado. But he didn't just defend his marriage, he declared it the greatest love story of all time. According to him, their relationship wasn't just good, it was the best marriage in history, stronger than anything anyone had ever seen. The internet, of course, had a field day, because as everyone knows, a truly happy and secure relationship doesn't require an all-caps social media meltdown to prove it. If everything was as perfect as Trump claimed, he wouldn't be raging online, demanding that the world believe it. Instead, his panicked response only made the jokes funnier. While Trump desperately tried to rewrite the narrative, the rest of the world was laughing at how painfully obvious his insecurity had become.
Favorite moments randomly in hosting the show was I saw a what was it? What do they call them? Do they call them a truth social? That like fake Twitter that no one, even the right wingers aren't on really. A truth, right? I don't know what it is. Anyway, a what? No, it's called Truth Social, I think. No one cares. Anyway, the point is Trump sent out one of his thingies. I don't know what they called, and it was like Trevor Noah was never funny. Jon Stewart was only slightly better, and then like he goes on like a rant and he's just like, these people don't realize if they moved more to the center like me, they would have more followers. Then I'm like, center like you? I'm like, my man, you think you're in the middle? But what was funny was like someone was like, oh, he said that you're not funny, and I was like, yeah, I read that, but I was like, oh, so you watching?
Fox News jumped into action, scrambling to control the damage. Late-night shows were looping clips of Trump's meltdown, headlines were stacking up, and the internet wasn't letting the moment die. The narrative had to be flipped fast. To shut down the bad press, they shifted the focus. Instead of addressing Trump and Melania's awkward, cold interactions, the story became about elitist Hollywood bullies unfairly attacking a hard-working, loving couple. Suddenly, the network was filled with dramatic speeches about media bias, rants about how Trump is always treated unfairly, and panicked discussions about false reporting. The goal wasn't to correct anything, it was damage control. The segment lineups felt more like a PR campaign than real news. There were hand-picked guests praising the strength of Trump and Melania's marriage, political commentators pushing the idea that this was just another example of liberal hypocrisy, and hosts shaking their heads at how mean-spirited Hollywood had become. But no matter how hard they tried to reshape the story, the internet wasn't buying it. The jokes were still rolling, the clips were still circulating, and the awkward reality of Trump and Melania's relationship remained impossible to ignore.
In love then?
It was a connection. It was a connection.
You said our chemistry was undeniable. Our connection felt natural. In private, he revealed himself as a gentleman, displaying tenderness and thoughtfulness.
As Trump raged online and Fox News scrambled to control the fallout, one person was conspicuously absent: Melania. No statements, no comments, not a single public appearance. Her complete silence stood out in stark contrast to Trump's furious meltdown. While he demanded attention, she did what she does best: disappear. Unlike Trump, who fights every perceived slight like a personal war, Melania's strategy is simple: avoid, ignore, and let the storm pass. She doesn't argue, she doesn't defend, and she certainly doesn't try to fix Trump's messes. Instead, she vanishes, making it clear that whatever he's ranting about, she has no interest in engaging. And that's what made it even more embarrassing for Trump. He was desperately trying to prove something about his marriage, and the one person who could actually confirm it wasn't even acknowledging the situation. The internet noticed immediately. Speculation ran wild. Was she secretly annoyed at Trump dragging her into another media circus, plotting her escape from the chaos? Or was she blissfully unaware, tuning everything out like she so often seems to? Did she care at all about the public reaction, or was she ignoring it the same way she seems to ignore Trump? People wondered, debated, and joked, but Melania never answered, and maybe that was the biggest answer of all.
The answer is yes. On behalf of our wonderful First Lady, Melania, and myself, the answer is yes, and we look forward to being there and honoring the King and honoring really your country. Your country is a fantastic country, and it'll be our honor to be.
Trump's furious response only made things worse. Instead of proving his marriage was strong, his over-the-top insistence made it seem even weaker. After all, if you have to loudly declare that everything is perfect, chances are it isn't. Despite Trump's all-caps rants and Fox News rushing to his defense, one thing was clear: Trevor Noah had hit a nerve. His joke wasn't just funny, it carried an uncomfortable truth that Trump couldn't ignore. Instead of shrugging it off, Trump spiraled into full-blown panic mode, desperately trying to control a narrative that had already escaped him. But once the internet gets a hold of a scandal, there's no stopping it. People love a juicy controversy, but even more than that, they love mocking it. Within hours, Twitter UX had transformed into a battlefield of memes, jokes, and hilarious takes, all centered around Trump and Melania's painfully awkward marriage. Trevor had done more than just make a joke. He had sparked an internet frenzy, and no amount of angry posts or forced defenses could change that.
The reason I've been thinking about Melania lately is because in the wake of Trump's recent immigration crackdown, I've started to notice something that's got me really concerned. I think Donald Trump is trying to deport Melania. No, and you might be asking, why would he want to deport his wife? I don't know, but things haven't exactly been perfect between them. First of all, it's no secret that Melania barely spends any time at the White House. Secondly, when he tried to hold her hand in public, she tried to slap.
In no time, phrases like "help Melania," "free Melania," and "Trump's marriage is fake" started trending across social media, all sparked by an event at Shang. The internet took the moment and ran with it, flooding timelines with hilarious posts and AI-generated images of Melania making a dramatic escape, running toward a plane like a political action movie star. Some of the most viral memes included doctored videos of Trump passionately talking to an empty chair, insisting that his wife adored him, while the world laughed at the eerie resemblance to Clint Eastwood's infamous 2012 speech. Late night TV immediately jumped on the trend. Jimmy Kimmel poked fun at Melania's famously distant expressions, wondering if her smile had a built-in expiration timer. Stephen Colbert took it further, joking that Melania had been using Morse code with her eyes for years, subtly blinking out distress signals every time a camera was on her. Even Saturday Night Live got involved, teasing a new skit featuring a stand-in Melania, since the real one hadn't been seen in so long that people were starting to wonder if she had been replaced. While no one was shocked by Trump's predictable, over-the-top reaction, the internet took his outrage and turned it into pure comedy. Instead of making his marriage seem stronger, his meltdown only fueled the jokes. What could have been a passing moment of gossip turned into an unstoppable online spectacle, with Trump once again unknowingly making the situation even funnier.